We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung kính Đại Đức Tăng Thịnh, vì thứ Pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh, thịnh chiến diệu Pháp luân, giáo đạo ngã môn. Như Á Liêu sanh thoát tư, lý khổ đạt lạc, tốt chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Thù Sư Chế Đô Ye La Hư Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Tăng Đắc Tha Tô Ya Đà Ya La Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei biao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu. 我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Qinglang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good known advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、尽量大师、师父上人、各位出家人、各位上智师、弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư Hòa thượng Tiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the I don't know what day is today. The 14th of July, 2023. We're here in Wei Mountain Temple to continue discussing the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra prepared by Master Qinglang. It's a great survey of the Avatamsaka Sutra as well as Buddha's teaching. Welcome to all of you and thank you for joining us. We are right now on slide 446, continuing with the discussion. In the past, the Chinese scholars decided to classify and divide the Buddhist teaching into different ways. We talked about so far of some right now, this area here, some of the Dharma masters advocated that their Buddha's teaching, the Buddha Dharma, can be classified into 5 different types of teachings. And Master Qinglang went through them and he says, I don't care if you divide by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever. I tell you about 5. I will explain to you that these 5 ways of looking at the Buddha, of classifying the Buddha's teaching has holes. Yes, it's helpful to some, but actually it has deficiency in the way they classify. So he's going through one by one, and he says, classify them by 5 is really nonsense. There's no need to classify them at all. Okay? But eventually, so he's going through the scholarly approach of saying, you scholars, Buddhist scholars have been classifying this. You do it out of concern and kindness for the Buddhist disciples. So let me tell you, you're overdoing it. It's not necessary. So he says, let me prove to you that your teaching, your classification has deficiencies. So we are at 446. Moreover, the Wisdom Shastra says, within the 3 stores, it explains the emptiness of Dharma as great emptiness.
又智轮云：三藏中名法空为大空。
Okay, commentary. See, I'm working on my spiritual penetration. Thank you. See, it works eventually. You have to have faith. So it says Wisdom Shastra is one of the most famous shastras in Mahayana, which contains the deepest level of wisdom in Buddhism as written by the Bodhisattvas. So the Bodhisattvas came to our world and said, look, so they wrote this something called Wisdom Shastra and says, this is how wise, how profound the Buddhist teaching is, because I know you can understand the Buddhist teaching, therefore I'm going to write you a treatise on how profound it is. So this is considered one of the most profound shastras or works from the Bodhisattvas who came to our world to help us appreciate the Buddhist teaching a lot more. So in this Wisdom Shastra is often studied, often quoted, because it has really profound teachings. It says that within the 3 stores, the stores of the Sutra stores, which teaches you how to develop samadhi, okay, concentration power. The Vinaya store, which teaches the foundation of goodness. If you want to be a good person, what is the foundation for goodness? Only the Buddhists know in great details, in great accuracy, what is goodness is about, or the opposite of it, what evil is about. Okay? There's no compromise here in Buddhism. It's very clear. The Buddha says, with my highest level of wisdom, morality means that this is good versus bad. No 2 ways about it. This is incredible insights. There's no more hesitation. No more if you follow those guidelines, then you are good. You don't follow those guidelines, you are not good. Simple as that. So it eliminates a lot of discussion, a lot of uncertainty. Because when you do something, don't you? Someone say, is that a good thing I did or is it a bad thing I did? Anyone? Only me, clearly. All of you have so much wisdom. You have never doubted yourself. Correct? I always ask myself. And when I have questions, I go back to the Vinaya and double check against it. All right? And the 3rd store is the Shastra store, as I said, is the Bodhisattva's writings and teachings to help us understand, appreciate the aspects of the Buddhist teachings that we will not be able to understand ourselves. Okay? So they highlight, what it really means. When the Buddha said something, okay, the Bodhisattvas understand it a lot more than we can. That's what the Bodhisattva says. Then now, in order to show my gratitude to the Buddhas, let me explain to you what I understand. Because you can't. All right? So that's why the 3 stores are really the Buddhist treasures. And it says within 3 stores, in the 3 stores in the Buddhist teaching, it explains the emptiness of dharmas as great emptiness. Okay. What's emptiness of dharmas? Dharmas is a common word that designates everything in this universe. Everything. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can talk about, whatever you like, dislike, is a dharma. Chung Sunim is a dharma. No? Or is he an exception? Are you a dharma or are you not a dharma? He has to think.
예, 법일 수도 있고 법이 아닐 수도 있습니다.
He says, maybe I am a dharma. No, he's not a dharma. Why not? Because in Buddhism, they separate people from dharmas. Okay? So dharmas is everything that's not people. Why is that? Because there's a Buddhist genius right there. In order for you to open your wisdom, what do people do? When you go to school, what do you learn? Master Xianqie, when you went to school for your PhD of philosophy, Eastern philosophy, what did you learn?
A lot of book knowledge.
Okay? A lot of things. Yes? A lot of knowledge that's been accumulated over the years. Yes? Human history. Our heritage. Yes? Okay. So that's the worldly approach. In order for you to accrue wisdom and knowledge, you learn about things that are not yours. Correct or not? You learn how to design bridges, you learn how to do art, you learn how to draw, you learn how to talk, you learn the principles, yes, you learn how to build, okay, and so forth. You learn about the object world, outside of you, that is dharmas. This is why the Buddhism, we separate people from dharmas, because this is what happens to people who seek knowledge. Ordinary people seeking knowledge, what do? They go to school, they go to places, they read books, and they search on the internet for external knowledge about others, about things, how to invest in the stock market, how to go buy a car, all right? How to choose a car, how to choose a wife, all right? All those are external knowledge. What happens is that you spend your entire life acquiring external knowledge, and what happens to you? You know nothing about yourself. You don't know how to handle yourself. You know nothing about yourself. So if you're young nowadays, young people, they get depressed, and they don't know what to do with it. And they go to see a professional. What do professionals know? Professionals know only about knowledge from the books, but they don't know how they themselves function when they're depressed. They don't. For example, yes? Since they don't know anything about themselves, how can it possibly help you deal with yourself? Because all the knowledge of the world is to deal with the outside, not with the inside of yourself. What's inside yourself? How to make yourself happy. People only look at happiness as buying a car, getting a wife, getting a promotion, success, material things, that's outside. But inside, are they happy? You know, I work with a lot of rich and very successful people. They're so unhappy. They're either, the richer they are, either many of them are drinking in excess. Elon, one of my ex-idols, is a drug addict. Okay? You name it, these people, they're so rich, they're so successful, and they're so unhappy inside. How do you know? They always are trying to get you to make them happy. That's what worldly people know. They know how to talk to you, how to wine and dine you. But because they feel that's what it takes to get you to like them. And when you like them, they're happier. And when you dislike them, they are not happy at all. So their happiness depends on you, depends on the outside world. That's all they know. They never look at themselves. What really makes me happy? Worse yet, they don't even dare take the time to look at what makes them miserable, unhappy, because there's no such knowledge. Agree? Disagree? Is this me? There you go again, my devoted blind followers. Okay? And that's why in Buddhism we separate people from dharmas. Because in Buddhism, instead of looking at dharmas or things outside of you, what do we Buddhists do? We learn to look at ourselves. That's people. And if you understand ourselves, okay, then you have what is called wisdom. You don't understand yourself, you have zero wisdom. I don't care how successful you are, how rich you are, how famous you are, okay? You do not understand yourself, know yourself. You are miserable. Because the ultimate purpose of your life isn't it to seek happiness, to make sense? Yes? And until you understand yourself, you will not succeed in being happy, in making sense of your life. Because all you do is gauge the meaning of your life based on others, people, views and opinions. And guess what? These other people, they base your measurements, your knowledge, and how you evaluate your success is, actually they are very confused. Some of them are fathers, some of them are priests, some of them are monks. They're very confused. All right? So that's why in Buddhism, instead of going outside first, we said, first things first, let's take care of ourselves. Who are we? What prevents us from really opening our wisdom? We need to look at that. Why? Why aren't we as wise as we're supposed to be? Why aren't we as happy as we're supposed to be? Why is that? Every day you walk and you sit and you eat lunch and you have this thirst inside of you. It says, "Chắc you don't like me. Like me? Don't you like me? Anyone likes me? Please." Because if that's how you function, you will always be miserable. Because some of them will like you, and most of them will not. That's life. See? So this is a fallacy, and this is the misery nature of our misery. Our misery is that I love my son. Does he love me back? My son is the love of my life more than my wife. Does he really love me back? Or can he wait to get rid of me so that he can inherit all my houses, all my properties? Anyone has that problem? I have the same problem. When I'm getting old, I said, they can't wait to get rid of me, can't they? I mean, look at them. They just, Master, how come you live so long? When is it our turn to take over? And not have to put up with your idiosyncrasies anymore and your temper. Yeah. Okay, so that's what happens. In Buddhism, we said, let's forget about others for the moment, or to forget about the world for the moment. Let's look at ourselves. That's why when we look at ourselves, develop wisdom. That's why it's called, that wisdom actually has a name. Emptiness of the self. Buddhism, very precise, folks. No two ways about it. You want to have wisdom in Buddhism? It's called, can you see that the self is empty? You cannot see that, then you have no wisdom. Anyone seen that yourself is empty? I cannot see myself empty, that's why I'm still here. If I see myself empty, it doesn't matter what I do anyway, right? So I might as well go to the Bahamas. Got that? Okay. So, you see, so that's Buddhism. He says, in Buddhism we said, first of all, do you have wisdom about yourself? If you don't even know yourself, who you really are, then how can you possibly understand outside of yourself? That's what happens in Buddhism. First step is you understand yourself, and that's called emptiness of the self. And the next level higher is emptiness of the dharmas. Trust me, if you see yourself as empty, you are incredibly wise. You are a real asset to the world, folks. You're capable of doing incredible things for society. The mere fact you can understand yourself and you see yourself, you can reach a level of wisdom called emptying yourself. You know what happens? You no longer try to manipulate people. You no longer try to steal from others. Okay? You become such a decent person. And on and on and on. And you know, that's exactly what the world lacks. We don't need no drug addict walking around trying to con you with stupid technology. We don't need people to walk around and say, invest in companies and make a lot of money even though they are killing us, they're ruining the planet. There's no wisdom in there. The destruction. There's nothing nice about it. There's nothing good about it. So these people, when they're not driven by their egos, by their selfishness, they become real assets to society in a very small scale. They're assets. And then when they go a step further, when they see the emptiness of the Dharma, meaning money, it's no big deal. Don't be so attached to it. Drugs, I mean, forget drugs. I don't know how to deal with drugs. You know what I mean? Okay? But they understand when dharmas are empty, meaning the outside world is empty, they're not attached to the outside world, they have what is called great wisdom that understands great emptiness. Is it clear, folks? Don't think of these words such as words. They actually carries a history, a Buddhist history of great wisdom that dates back to long time ago, before even God came to our world, before even humans appear on this earth, even before even the dinosaurs came about, way before that. It's timeless wisdom. It transcends times. Okay? That's why it's called great emptiness, great wisdom. Questions and comments? Unfortunately, the scholars and the Buddhist disciples, especially from a Chinese persuasion, because I learned it from, is that look at great emptiness as a scholarly thing, as a concept. Actually, great emptiness is great wisdom, where actually you are capable of doing great good, tremendous good, more than just your little self, your little family, your little community, your little province, your little country. Okay? It's for the whole world. That's why it's called great wisdom, folks. But no, your teachers, your sunims, your Dharma masters tell you you are great. And Vietnamese Buddhism is great. Korean Buddhism is great. Chinese Buddhism is great. Better than Japanese Buddhism. Because they don't understand great emptiness yet. Yes, Helen?
From Alex, when I say the Buddha's or Bodhisattva's names, I feel like I'm saying the name of something outside of myself. How do I say the Buddha's name and look inside?
Keep on saying until you stop thinking. You're still saying, you're still thinking. You say, Emitofuo. You say, hey, I'm thinking Emitofuo. Why do you keep on thinking? Just recite until you stop thinking. What's so difficult about that? Stop thinking about what you're doing. Just do! Excuse me. I lose tempers. Yes, Evan.
From Brady, Master, isn't it easier to see dharmas as empty rather than seeing ourselves as empty?
No, sir. When you see Dharma as empty before yourself's empty, what is that called? Self-delusion. The people who try to see Dharma as empty first, before it's time, they're only deluding themselves. This is what's so dangerous about you. All of you are so smart, so ingenious, that it's very easy for you to delude yourself. Think of all the scientists, all the philosophers. They're deluding themselves because they don't see themselves as empty yet. Thank you for the question. Am I sounding critical? I love the world. I love all of you. But you, somehow these questions bring the worst out of me. Anyone else? All right? Great emptiness. Great wisdom is great emptiness. Okay? Great emptiness requires you to see people as empty, meaning the self is empty and Dharma is empty. Is that clear? A very important distinction here. If you don't separate them, it's very difficult for you to get there. This is, again, Buddhist insights. People, worldly people, they're confused because they shoot for the dharmas first. Okay? They try to understand dharmas first. Just like many Buddhist disciples try to understand the Buddhist teaching. So what do? They read a lot of texts, a lot of sutras, and for the sake of acquiring external knowledge. Your knowledge comes from a book. It's called external knowledge. It's not wisdom. They'll never be able to understand Buddhism. Okay, dokie? Next. While in the Mahayana, it explains the emptiness of the 10 directions is great emptiness. All of this shows that the small vehicle already has the two kinds of emptiness.
摩诃眼中明十方空为大空，皆显小圣已有二空。
Oh, by the way, before I get lost in myself, we have a small change. I'm going to need to remind you. From now on, I like to, for our sutra lectures, I like to only do 1 hour and a half, okay, to be consistent. Friday is 1 hour and a half sutra lecture, and before we would do 2 hours of sutra lectures on Saturdays and Sundays. I feel that it's better to do 1 hour and a half because my master, Master YongHua, when he lectured for 1 hour and 20 minutes, not even 1 hour and a half, okay? And that's too much already, 1 hour and a half. All right, anyone has any problems? You have any problems? Go see the office, which is closed right now. All right, any questions, suggestions, complaints? We will not hear them. Okay, never mind. So he says, another way, another aspect of it, we're not talking about you, us anymore. We're talking about, he says, in Mahayana, the emptiness of 10 directions, great emptiness. Now we're talking about the levels of the bodhisattvas, enlightened people. He says, actually, you may be enlightened, but did you know that for you to reach your maximum level of enlightenment, the ultimate type of wisdom, you need to be able to see that the 10 directions is all empty. All right? So that's why the Buddha is very complete. He says, I want to teach you great emptiness from different perspectives. All right? Don't be so full of yourself. You ain't seen nothing yet. Is actually the Buddha's words. Would be his Buddha words. Okay? So here in slide 450, Master Jingliang, he says, so these people proclaim that you're divided by existence of marks and then marklessness, meaning emptiness. Actually, they're confused. That is not the case. Actually, when you, during the teaching of the marks or the things of existence, actually they're also teaching the emptiness. Okay? And so forth. Okay, so Master Jingliang simply says here, I just demonstrated to you to divide them into two types, to classify them as Buddhist teaching about marks or things in existence that you can see, or feel, perceive, or teachings of marklessness or emptiness. It's no such clear delineation at all. Okay? Buddha's teaching is always complete. Only his people's understanding that's incomplete. Very much like when we teach children. We can only describe them only a small part of the picture. And then as they get older, we enlarge their views. That's all. All right? Questions? Oh, it's my stockbroker. He says, sell Tesla stocks. No, excuse me. Yeah, 7.
From Vicky, can we achieve true emptiness and at the same time interact with others?
I hope so. Why do you ask me? Are you checking up on me? Are you saying that if I really understood and achieved true emptiness, why am I here? Is that it? What is the point? I don't want to sound defensive, but I am. When you get there, you know is the answer. Okay? 451. And if one says that the second period speaks of emptiness, after the 12 years are then laid down the vast precepts. So how can it be can it merely talk of emptiness?
若云第20说空者12年后方至广界，岂为说空？
Okay, so 452. Now on the other hand, he says, see, I just destroyed to you the first period that says mark, meaning that they talk about existence, things that are real. Actually, during the period, you cannot say the only real things. Buddha also taught about emptiness, okay? Because that's part of the Buddha. The truth is that when they talk about all those real things, in order to help you, empty yourself. And empty all dharmas as well. It's always contained, but you just don't understand. That's all. Number 2, second period, where they talk about marklessness or emptiness. Okay? And then, according to these masters, the first is existence, meaning things are for real. Number 2, things that are empty, everything is empty. They said that second period where you talk about emptiness, actually is not emptiness only, because the Buddha during that period explained about precepts. Precepts has marks. Precepts says, don't steal, don't kill. Those are marks. Marks mean you can hear it, you can talk about it, you can read it. Okay? So he says, if you talk about, if you claim that Buddha during the period, second period, only talked about emptiness, then the Master Jing Liang says it's not the case, because during the second period, Buddha's also taught about precepts, which have marks. All right? 453. Furthermore, the Wisdom Shastra says, from the night he attained the way up until Nirvana, he constantly spoke prajna. So how could he not have discussed emptiness at first?
又智轮云：从得道业乃至涅盘，常说般若，岂前不说空呢？
Okay. 454 commentary. And he says, in that Wisdom Shastra, the famous, the great Wisdom Shastra, he says, from the night he attained the way, the Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree and opened his great wisdom, until the day he died, he entered Nirvana. He was constantly preaching prajna, which is great wisdom. If great wisdom that what he preached, how could he have not discussed emptiness? Prajna is emptiness. Great prajna is great emptiness. Okay? All right? So that's why Master Jing Liang says, you to classify that specifically that the third period of only the Buddha preaching only emptiness at the third period of prajna, then actually you cannot divide it that way. and because there's taught emptiness already in the other periods. 455, and if one says in the second period, the permanent dwelling have not yet been revealed, how could real mark prajna not be the permanent?
若云第20中未显常住者，实相般若，岂无常耶？
Okay, commentary 456. And then again, they divide a fourth period. Okay, third period as a period of marks or things you can observe. Second period is the period of emptiness or marklessness. Third period is a period of prajna. Okay, fourth period is permanent dwelling, and so forth. And so, first period is proclaim, acclaim, and so forth. Anyway, it depends on which Dharma masters you choose. There are two camps here. It doesn't matter as far as you whatever they want to divide, classify. There will be a period where they actually discuss the prajna. Then the Master Jing Liang says that's nonsense, because if you say second period is only about emptiness and it's not talking about the permanently dwelling Buddha nature, then actually it's nonsense. And because there's a period of the prajna where all the concepts were revealed. Because real mark prajna is actually wisdom that crosses all these boundaries, all these delineations. This is why, in the first place, actually, these people who divide, just my personal opinion, the Dharma masters, the monks, Chinese monks, great monks, who divided or classified these teachings actually don't have real wisdom yet. That's why they did it, to draw attention, make a name for themselves. Okay, so now we're on slide 457. That comes to the concept of prajna. I would like tonight to revisit the concept of prajna, or ask you, learn from you the concept of prajna. Let me remind you. I think these are basic concepts you need to understand. Prajna has three types: literary, contemplative, and real mark prajna. Okay. What is literary prajna? Literary prajna is the words you learn from Mahayana. Okay, and this is very important. These are the basic concepts you need to memorize, because this is part of your wisdom. You see eventually. You understand why the Buddhas taught us these three things: literary prajna, contemplative prajna, and real mark prajna. I will explain them for you tonight. Okay, why they're important? Let me tell you. Literary prajna, I give you an analogy. Why is it important? It's very much like, let's say, anyone plays the stock market? No one? Jung-in Sinim? No more? No more, he says. No more stock market. What about cryptocurrencies? No more cryptocurrencies. Any Buddhist disciple who's been investing in stock market? Monks and nuns? I heard many monks and nuns invest in stock markets. Some of them made a lot of money and built big temples. Huh? No more? Okay. If you play the stock market, okay, how do you make money? You make money by picking the right stocks, yes? That will appreciate or will depreciate depending on how you buy it. You can buy for appreciation, you can buy for depreciation, okay? It's called long position or short position. You don't want to know this, okay? I'm just giving you general language, okay? So the different ways of playing the stock market. The main thing, though, is you need to have something called tips or insider knowledge. If you have knowledge that says this stock here will appreciate, then what will you do? You buy, yes? So that when they appreciate, the price appreciate, you make a lot of money. And that's the secret, yes, of how you become rich. Or you know the stocks already appreciate. I keep on telling people that Tesla is a con man's game and destructive to the world. But more and more people are believing in it, so no one is paying attention to me anymore. Eventually, one day, they wake up and say, Tesla is a con game. It's very destructive to us. It's killing you, killing your children, killing your father, killing your mother. Okay? Those electric cars, they're crap. They're the worst inventions of mankind, yet all the politicians are buying into it. Silicon Valley here, you walk around, you drive around, it's Teslas everywhere. And how confused Silicon Valley is. Here, I was up in Silicon Valley yesterday. Today, I'm here in Rosemead. All we drive here is 20-year-old Hondas and Toyotas. We don't do Teslas. Only because we're poor. If we're rich, we buy Teslas. Never mind. So the point here is that you have these tips. You know that if you invest a long position into this house here, this real estate, in this stock, you make a lot of money. You have that secret knowledge of success. Yes? And that is literary prajna. Buddha, when he preached the Buddhist teachings, that's recorded, those are secret tips. No one's impressed. Those are the secrets of the universe, the literary prajna. Incredible wisdom, incredible insights about you, about the world. Why? Because supposedly Buddhas understand and know everything. It's nothing they don't know. So when they spoke, it's their insights. You believe that Buddhas have the greatest level of wisdom, are the wisest being in the universe? Would you like to hear him talk? That's literary prajna. When it's recorded, it becomes literary prajna. The Chinese, somehow, they make it, literary prajna. It's, you read it, you hear it. No, the Buddhas, it's the Buddha's insights, folks. You're not impressed. Some of you are still asking, so how do I make money on the stock market again? You're thinking so small. You only think of stock market. I'm thinking of gaining the world, the universe. You're thinking way too small. You happy so little. Okay? So literary prajna, incredible insights, just for your sake. Okay? Keep that in mind. Okay, so meaning what? It's a call for you to learn more and hear more about the Buddha's teaching. That's all it says. Just listen, just hear. Don't reject it. Don't say, no, it's not for me. Even if you're not Buddhist, even if you don't believe, it doesn't matter. You listen to it, all of a sudden, some of these days, you suddenly have this insight. You say, oh wow, I should buy this stock. I should buy this house. I should marry this No, not him. You know what I mean? Sudden, the literary prasya is sudden. When you hear it and you read it and you listen to it, it suddenly gives you insights about your problems. Give you solution to your problems. I said, don't tell me it doesn't apply to you. Only because you don't have enough blessings to be able to have access to such great resource of mankind. That's called literary prasya. So how do you access it? It's a call for you. I'm telling you that you should be reciting sutras, even if you're not Buddhist. You want insights? You want inspiration for art? Inspiration for your work? Recite sutras. I'm telling you. Any sutras. Or you listen to Master Shenhua, or you listen to the sages. That's also sages' teachings, sages' talks. That's also literary prasya. Because they interpret the Buddha's words for you. That's literary prasya. How do you know someone who's piss poor? They're the one who says, I don't believe. It's not for me. It's like we come to them and say, you know, the horse race right there? I know who's the winning horse going to be. And they say, nah, I don't believe you. If you know what the winning horse, please tell me. I will invest in you and split 50-50. I'm not greedy. It's better than nothing. All right? It's literary prasya. Look at them as insights from people who are wiser, much wiser than us. And if you hear them, you read them, you keep your mind open to them, you reap great benefits. And the proof is that look at Xianfa, she's hitting her head. Zoom in. People, zoom into Xianfa. See? Right there. That's from listening to literary prasya. What's happening? She's hitting her head. Unblocking the blockages in the head that makes her stupid. See? Isn't that incredible? You think it's funny, you think it's crazy, but actually when she does that, she's actually unblocking. You know, like when you go to acupuncture, that's what they do. That's what she's doing to herself with tiny needles. Record it. Well, you know, funny thing, it only works for her. You try to do it to yourself, you go crazy. You see, listening, I'm proving to you, listening to literary prasya is helpful to you, to her, at least to her. Look at that. It says, feels good. Isn't it amazing that you guys, are exposed to this, see and witness this yourself, whereas people in the world think that we are putting on a show, this is prearranged, for Xianfa to do something like this to impress others. Actually, we are called. What do we care, you believe or not? Go for us.
Thank you, Master. But isn't like reading sutras a way of seeking external knowledge?
Yes. But this is special external knowledge that will be helpful to you versus external knowledge that will confuse you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Master.
Yeah, so are you part of the confused or helped?
I think I'm part of the confused, but I'm trying to read to get unconfused.
Okay, so you hope to be helped. See, and keep on listening to literary prajna. Thank you, sir. Good question. 7.
Hung has a question.
Hung? Okay.
Thank you, Master. I try to raise hand, but
I cannot see in that back. These lights, I don't want to sound defensive, but I feel defensive tonight. The lights are actually sometimes so glaring, I cannot see very well to the back.
it's okay. I also asked the two, but they did not. So anyway, Master, the word piss poor, how do you translate it into Vietnamese? I couldn't.
What word?
Piss poor.
Piss poor?
Yeah.
It is a dirty word. You don't need to translate it. In polite English language, they don't use the word piss. So you don't need to translate piss, you just only translate poor. Does it help?
Yes, thank you, Master.
So we say very poor. Am I right? Master chuckling. Am I right? Yeah. Don't show my face. He said, I don't want to be associated with foul language Dharma, speaking Dharma masters. Anyone else? Okay. So literary is not something that is not relevant to you. I assure you. Try to listen to the wise people's teachings. That's literary prajna, okay? It will be very helpful to you. 2, contemplative. Here's what happens to many Taiwanese I met recently, Vietnamese, Korean, American, who else? I don't seem to meet a lot of people. That's why I should lecture less and go see more people. Anyway, what they do is they study the Buddha's words and said, I study the Buddha's teachings. Then when I open my real wisdom, I know those things. So what's the point in cultivating? Good point, they're right. If you study literary prajna, when you become enlightened, you will understand all those things. That's it. Okay? So that's why the smart Buddhist says, I know prajna already. I don't need to cultivate. But it is so wrong because literary prajna is the wisdom of the Buddhas. Okay? It's not yours. You need to have contemplative prajna, which is yours. The beginning of your wisdom is no longer the Buddha's, it's yours now. Isn't that cool? It's very much like I have a tip how for you to which horse in a horse race will finish first. And you know it, but you are not willing to buy a ticket. You got that? So that's what happens to many Buddhist disciples. They said, I know about, that horse will be number 1. But they forget. Literary prajna is for you, to encourage you to buy that ticket, to invest in that stock, to invest in that horse, to invest in that person, so that you get real benefit yourself, not just talk about it. That's contemplative prajna, where you actually, how do you do that? You actually meditate you actually cultivate to, which is the equivalent of investing. And this is where the sunims and monks and nuns, they fail to tell their students. Your professors only know about literary prajna, but they don't know about contemplative prajna because they don't know how to invest. Contemplative prajna is how to make literary prajna yours, not just the Buddhas or the Bodhisattvas. I'm sure you never heard of this way, explained this way before, because the Chinese, they don't care. There's too many of them. You know, the Koreans, there's too many of you, 53 million of you. I only have 53 of you. So I have to make the best out of the people I have. You see? I want you to understand so that your time is not wasted. The 53 million people can be wasted. 1 billion people in China can be wasted because it doesn't matter. One of them will make it. But I only have you. Mwah! Got that? So that's why I need to explain to you why we spend time explaining this to you. Why we spend time doing these things. It's for your own good. Contemplative prajna is the actual process. You cross your legs, you bow, you do all the things we do here in the temple that will help you open your contemplative prajna so that your wisdom is yours, not on a sheet of paper. It's for you to use. So that when you talk to your client, they love you more. They buy more from you. When you teach your children are more grateful to you because you tell them the right things they should need to know that our parents did not teach us because they don't have contemplative prajna. Contemplative prajna is like, I walked through that before. Yes, I know we're supposed to get a bachelor's degree, okay? But let me tell you my way. Understand? That college I went to, you can go through that. That's how you get there. Don't sit there and talk about it. That's contemplative prajna because you actually are given the instructions, which path to take, how to do it. You know it's a good thing there. To get there is a great thing. But that's number one. Number two is how to get there. It's different kind of knowledge, equally critical. Questions, comments? You see? And that's why that girl is shaking and now he's not beating her head anymore. She's moving on to the next phase. You see that? See that? I tell you, cultivation is never boring for her. Huh? Look at that. Isn't it cool? And that's contemplative prajna, folks. Being developed. It will be a few more lifetimes, but she's getting there. Look at that. See? Oh, hey, man. Fascinating, isn't it? People only talk about words. They don't know how to do it. Okay? It takes people like that who are willing to undergo the training to know how to do it themselves. Yes, 7.
Question from Dang.
Dang. You know what dang means in English? Never mind. Sorry.
Last night when I was sleeping, all of a sudden I started moving similar to when I was meditating, but more violent. Luckily, my wife had not gone to bed yet at the time. I was pushing both sides and kicking in the air. Then I sat up on the bed, crossed my legs, moved my back against the wall, and started to recite the medicine master mantra, the only mantra I could remember. I did all this involuntarily, and it was very violent, as if I was trying to fight something. My reciting was very fast and loud, almost yelling at times. My wife tried to wake me up from that, but I clapped my hand and pointed at her as if telling her to keep quiet. I recited the medicine master mantra for a while. Then I moved to the corner of the room and stayed quiet for a bit. I thought I was done. Then I started to recite Guan Shu Yin Pusa for another while. Then I stopped and woke up. My wife was scared. Is there something I should be concerned about? Should I learn some other mantras?
Scary. Good thing it never happened to us. What a scary experience, huh? And good thing you didn't beat up on your wife. That would not be good for Buddhism. And then our Buddhists will become wife beaters. Be patient. You're worried, I understand. Okay? Here's my explanation for you, my excuse for you. You go through this process to open wisdom, to understand something that you could not understand before. All right? So these things are freeing the qis, the blockages in your head, in your body. That's preventing your wisdom from unfolding. So these things are very good for you. They appear to be crazy, they appear to be scary, and most ordinary people would stop. So I won't blame you for stopping. It's perfectly okay, stop. Okay? And it will go away. It won't happen anymore. But it doesn't help your wisdom. It doesn't help you unfold your wisdom. Okay? When you go through this and it stops, that's when you become a new person. The only justification is that this is how beautiful it is. It is so violent, it's so fast, because if it has to make sense to you, then it will take a lot longer. Because this is what happens to us, ordinary people. We take one step, very much like a fox. The Chinese has this analogy. You know, a fox are in the Chinese culture are very smart animals. So when they try to cross, this is from Master Hsuan Hua, when they try to cross a frozen lake, frozen river, what do? Because they don't know whether the ice can hold their weight or not. So they take one step and they touch and they wait and then one step at a time. You see? So they say, I'm safe. Next, am I safe? Yes, I'm safe. Next, am I safe? Yes, I'm safe. So what happened is that for the fox, he gets there safely, but it takes him forever. And maybe along the way, a hunter might come along and shoot at him, and he dies. Huh? All right? Whereas this process where he goes through, where it doesn't make sense to him, but people have done it before. And that's why he has two choices. This Deng guy here has two choices. Either stop the Deng thing or continue. And to continue, to stop is like a fox. I don't know. I'm willing to go this far. I stop, right? And then I wait. Maybe, yeah. See that? That's what happens to the fox. For us, many of us have walked through this path before. Look at the crazy girl right there. even wearing my kind of clothing. We have plenty of people around, people like Dang. They went through this Dang thing. Okay? So anyway, I'm playing with him. Don't be afraid. Continue. And tell your wife to be aware of you until you become you back to non-shaking anymore. Okay? You'll be fine. You're not possessed by a woman, a demon or anything. Woman, I don't know. I only know about demons. Yes, 7.
From Sophia Gu. Master, I have a question about the 7 principles you said we should embody. Can you please explain how we can practice the 7th principle, the 4 unlimited minds?
Then you learn about kindness, compassion, joy, and renunciation. Okay? You practice with us, that's what you are being taught. About being kind, about being compassionate, about finding joy in life, in daily life. It's very joyful. It's not the way you think. Okay? And renunciation. Renunciation is what brings you greatness. Greatness for Elon is to hoard more. He doesn't understand greatness is to let go and give. Here, take it. You need it, you can take it. You want it, you can take it. I be poor. You can have it. Eventually, you understand. Okay? It's not something I can explain to you, but that's what you're being trained. Anyone else? Okay, so we talk about literary insights, contemplative techniques. Okay? Literary is the goal. Okay? This is where you need to go. This is your secret knowledge. But the secret treasure and contemplative is how to get to the treasure map. So far, so good? Number 3, real mark prajna is a big prize. When you become enlightened, when you get there, okay, contemplative is small, only to get there, okay? But real mark is the end prize, the big prize. Your reward, your true rewards. Or you say, I'm so happy. I am happy. You know what it boils down to ultimately? Are you happy? Real mark is, I'm the happiest. As happy as it can be. You never have any more doubts. And that real happiness there is actually great wisdom. Great wisdom is to know how to be happy. Among other things. How to make others happy. Not just by yourself alone. How to make them happy. Your children happy. Your spouse happy. After her now, she disappeared. She's sleeping. See? Happiness. Only here, Way Mountain Temple, we beat ourselves and we shake and we lie down. Hey, man. All in 1 hour and a half. I would say that very fast progress. Whereas the fox says, is it safe? Am I possessed by a ghost? Am I too violent? See that? Okay. So anyway, I like you to remember these jargons because they're very important. Because when we talk about Buddhism, you have to ask them, what do you know? Do you know about literary prajna? Yeah, because some people they talk about junk knowledge. They talk about, how to make money, how wonderful you are, how lovely you are. That's not prajna. Okay, literary prajna is true wisdom, insights, incredible insights. Okay, as you hear about them, especially from monks and nuns, you begin to discern what's literary prajna versus worldly dharmas. For example, there's a monk who died already, so I can make fun of him. The guy who used to around and teach people to meditate by hugging trees. And how are you going to open your wisdom by hugging trees again? Huh? Seriously? No one ever doubted him that you can hug trees and become a wise person. I tried. I have proof. I have photos of me hugging trees. I tried, trust me. When I criticize, it's only after I tried and learned from them. I came to them and said, let's hug trees. I've been hugging trees. And I cannot find anywhere in literary prajna that says hugging tree or contemplative prajna construction that tells me, well, hugging trees will open my wisdom. Okay? So anyway, that's the bottom line. You need to know literary prajna. Okay? That's the words of the Buddhas, of the sages only. Is that clear? Make a distinction. Don't listen to anyone except for the Buddhas and the sages. People like me, we're just selling, we're peddling things. Don't believe us. Only believe when I say, this is what the Buddha said. Then you can believe. If you say, this is what I think, don't believe. You believe at your own risk and peril. Okay? So literary prajna, only the words of wisdom from the sages, from the Buddhas. Contemplative is actually the instructions on how you make that knowledge your own. You see that? You understand now? This very important distinction you have. If you hear of the tip of the stock market, stock tip, you have to put money into it to make money. You have to do something. Contemplative is a call for action, techniques on how to make your literary prajna your own. And real mark prajna is the ultimate wisdom. This is where you arrived. This is just middle way. This is middle of the way. You're not quite there. It's called contemplative prajna. Okay? But when you're there, it's called real mark prajna. You see? There are gradations in Buddhism. You cannot go from zero, from a very poor to an emperor overnight. You need to go through phases. And that's why the three important phases: literary prajna, literary wisdom, contemplative wisdom, and real mark wisdom. See, now she's back to shaking again. Yeah, how cool. Cool Dharma. See, I rest my case, you see. Now I even have proof. I hugged this tree here for 1 minute. Give me wisdom. Please give me wisdom. So per her. And look at me. scary monk. Yeah. Nonsense. Okay. So anyway, I want to close because it's kind of close enough to closing time. That actually real mark prajna is everything, all the Buddha's wisdom, which is also include permanent dwelling and everything else. So all these classifications nonsense from the scholars, real nonsense. And Master Qingyang, he just demonstrated to us. He says it's no nonsense. Don't buy into these classifications. Don't waste your time reading this junk. Again, remember literary prajna, those people that he criticized are not sages. That's why I ignore them. Don't read them. And then the question I have is, for Master Qingyang is, why are we studying about them again? If they don't make sense, can't you just say, these classifications, that's a waste of time, don't do it? Why did you have to go through all this? So that I can buy time and talk to you, demonstrate to you. Anyone else? Yeah. 458. I'm making fun of him, but actually it helps to go to the language to see, you go to the history and see why people got confused and what people try to do in the name of goodness. And you should avoid making these mistakes because they did not have contemplative prajna. You see, what they have is literary prajna. Okay? And then they never spend enough time developing contemplative prajna. And ultimately, before you try to analyze the Buddha's teaching, they should have achieved real mark prajna. Then maybe it makes sense for them to help. All right? That's what happened to these people. They try to teach prematurely before they're ready, before they have real wisdom, before they have real mark prajna wisdom. And that's my problem, my beef with the monks and nuns. They don't have real mark prajna wisdom, and they try to teach too soon. Like her teacher, teaching what? Cooking? Seriously? Fundraising? How does it help your prajna wisdom again? Hugging trees? I tried. I tried. Okay, this is a new topic. So if I start now, next week I have to remind you again. So let's stop here tonight. And do the rebirth transference to help these people go to the Pure Land. At least we didn't waste our time. Huh? Do something good for a change. Thank you, everyone. Good night.